I've been trading crypto since 2017, and I can say that without a doubt, this is some of the worst sentiment that I have ever seen, potentially even worse than FTX. In today's video, I'd like to give you a little bit of perspective as to where we are in the market, what I think could be happening next, and of course, going over our key invalidations. If you enjoy the content, as always, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. This will be a pretty important video. I would highly recommend that you watch the entire thing. Let's jump right into it. First and foremost, in the short term here, you can see that we lost our key level, which was $107,000. Losing 107K on a daily time frame close would signal further capitulation, and this is exactly what we got. This is why I was so adamant on us holding this level. You can see that these higher lows in progress, it is no longer a thing. We have to completely invalidate this. Now you can see right now we got that daily close right around 106.5K, and naturally we moved much lower after losing the crucial 107K zone. Guys, these invalidation levels are no joke. We lose them on daily closes, and naturally, this is the kind of price action that you can get. But it's not all doom and gloom in today's video. I want to take you through what I'm currently thinking. So right now, it's very clear Bitcoin is looking quite weak, and the rest of the market continues to bleed. We lost this key level, we're also below the bull market support band, and everyone is calling for it to be over. I still don't think that this is the case. We need to talk about the fact that on the weekly time frame, we are still holding the structure. I know you might not want to believe it, but right now at this point in time, we are still above that 50-week moving average, which is found right around at this point in time, $103,000. If we start to close below there, and most importantly, if we start to close below $98,000, that is the point in time where I would be saying, guys, it's over. And by closes, I mean the weekly candles. Remember in yesterday's video, I talked about ignoring the wicks. It's only the closes that really matter. And therefore, in the short term, when we got the close below $107,000, all of my short-term long trades were technically invalidated. It's pretty clear. Now, the way you want to operate in this market, I hate to harp on about risk management, but seriously, if you're losing sleep at night because of trades in the crypto market, then you're doing it all wrong. I will only risk a max of 5% of my total trading portfolio per trade, and even that is considered relatively risky. So when I lose out on some of my trades, I am perfectly okay to move on to the next one as I see how the market progresses. Right now, at this point in time, we are looking to tap into this level, which is right around $103,000. Can we lose it? Can we wick below it? Of course, there's always a possibility here, but I still don't think that the market is confirmed over, and I think it would be foolish to think that until we actually lose this level. We've been talking about 98K since Bitcoin was literally at $120,000. If you've been watching the channel, you know this to be true. If we lose this level, that's the point in time where I will likely be cutting most of my Bitcoin position, confirming that the bear market has started. A reminder, I didn't have a channel when this cycle kicked off, but I accumulated most of my Bitcoin between $15,000 and $30,000. That might not be what you want to hear, but that's just the truth of the matter. And should we get the same opportunity in the next bear market, which we presume to be in 2026, then I will of course now share it because I have a YouTube channel and because I can guide you through the market. So right now, we're actually at a pretty pivotal zone. You can see that Bitcoin is now retesting this key level, which is found right around 103.5K. I am not giving up quite yet. We still have the weekly bullish structure in my opinion, and as long as Bitcoin continues to hold where we are, we can move higher out of here. This is not just me spreading hopium, it's truly what I believe to be the case. Guys, look at my comment section. It is extremely negative. I even had one guy comment that I'm actively trying to get people wrecked. Seriously, in the past few months for Bitcoin, we have called most of the major moves and we've made some significant profits in the market. I'm not here to spread some hopium. I just want to share with you exactly what I think could be happening. Everyone is extremely bearish at this point in time. And although we went ahead and lost the 107K level, I still think that we have a good chance to have that one last leg to this bull market cycle. I shared my invalidations. I want to give you a little bit of perspective here because technically we just continue to range around. Right now, as I'm recording this video, we are literally at the same price that we were on October 17th or October 10th. It's only been a few weeks. In my opinion, at this point in time, I think it's a little bit foolish to call for a guaranteed bear market from here. Look at the fear and greed index, for example. Extreme fear, 21. You know the drill. We also have the fact that odds of Bitcoin falling under $100,000 this month rise to 52% on Polymarket. And we have the ETFs continuing to sell some Bitcoin and Ethereum. As you can see here, Bitcoin saw just under 200 million worth of outflows. Ethereum saw just over 100 million worth of outflows as well. So look, everyone is shorting the market at this point in time. There is hardly any long liquidation leverage. And although the current trend is most obviously down, I can share with you that I have not sold most of my spot Bitcoin bag quite yet. I sold some at around $125,000, and I am looking to sell more as Bitcoin finally finds support around these levels. It's a little bit of a big zone, I get that, but at this point in time, I cannot come here in good faith and tell you that I think that the bull market is over until we get confirmations below, for example, $98,000 on a weekly time frame. This is the thing. Ethereum will obviously follow what happens with Bitcoin. So ETH does have some pretty significant support right around these levels over here, which actually sent us to new all-time highs. I wouldn't want to see Ethereum break past below these levels, which is around $3,300. But that being said, Bitcoin determines the rest of the market. And I hate to harp on about Bitcoin dominance once more, but I still firmly believe that we move higher out of here, whether Bitcoin continues to go down or we end up holding support and we can move higher out of here. I am still, technically speaking, bullish in this market and actively looking for longs. I have to reiterate that. I know it's a difficult environment, but I have seen this time and time again. People are simply giving up on crypto at this point in time, and they will likely rejoin if we go ahead and move higher from here. In my opinion, it's important to exercise a little bit of patience. Now, don't get me wrong, I get it. Everyone is probably pissed off simply because they continue to hold altcoins. Now, I have been pretty vocal about not holding altcoins for most of this bull market cycle. I literally only have mostly Bitcoin and Ethereum. And this seems to be some kind of lost concept, some foreign concept that we've had. But if you've been in crypto for a while, this has always been the standard. Hold most of your portfolio in Bitcoin, then you slowly go down the risk curve. The thing is, most people seem to ignore this. And what happened is everyone went into altcoins because every single influencer continues to call for altcoin season. But we've seen this time and time again, this bull market cycle. Every single time that altcoins slightly outperform Bitcoin, we end up moving lower and Bitcoin dominance goes ahead and moves higher. Taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, just to give you a little bit more perspective here, you can see that we are now back firmly above 60% and we are back above its bull market support band. I still think that Bitcoin dominance continues to increase. Now, what is the best case scenario out of here? Because right now, Bitcoin is testing these wicks from that liquidation event. We have this level all the way down to 103.5K. We also have this liquidation wick on Bybit, which brought us all the way down to 101. Some exchanges is between 101 to 103. And then we also have the weekly level down to $98,000. In my opinion, I still think we move higher out of here. But what you really want to see is actually Bitcoin dominance continue to increase with a Bitcoin uptrend this time around. What I mean by this is if Bitcoin starts dumping and continues to dump to lower levels, I still think that altcoins have no chance against Bitcoin. It's not what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear. However, once the tides turn and Bitcoin can hopefully hold support at some of these lower levels, I do think that Bitcoin will increase and lead the way, which is exactly what you want for some kind of altcoin relief in this market. Bitcoin dominance increasing as Bitcoin finds support around these levels, and then we can go ahead and see that Bitcoin will lead the way. Hopefully, we make it past all-time highs, and keyword hopefully, because the invalidation is very clear. I've been pretty vocal about it, $98,000. And then as we end up trickling on higher, that is the point in time where when Bitcoin starts distributing, we can see that Bitcoin dominance will likely plummet. Over the past few months, I've been showing you this Bitcoin dominance long trade. It's been extremely simple to execute on. Remember, if you want to trade Bitcoin dominance, you do have the second link in my description down below. It brings you directly to Bluffin, and if you sign up with me, you get some pretty sizable bonuses. But the point is, this is one of the only exchanges where they actively let you trade Bitcoin dominance. And I still firmly believe that when Bitcoin dominance does go ahead and top out, perhaps it's around the time where quantitative tightening officially ends, which is actually December 1st. Maybe we'll finally start to see Bitcoin dominance go down, and it'll be a sustained move down, and that is where I would be shorting Bitcoin dominance on Bluffin. Remember, that's the second link in my description down below. You have my group also, which is the first link, not to just keep on shilling it, but the point is, if you want my active trades in this market, how I am moving day to day, hour by hour, I share that in my free Telegram group. Look, I get it. People are stressed out. Everyone's holding altcoins, but time and time again, we've been vocal on this channel about holding most of your portfolio in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And if you're not listening to that, then I simply cannot help you. All I can do is share this information on a daily basis and try to get you to understand how I am currently viewing the market and how I am navigating it. When it comes to trading, proper risk management and holding Bitcoin and Ethereum in my spot bag is more than enough to give me exposure to the market. That's all I can say. Now, what is next? Because I see the timeline getting extremely bearish. And speaking of which, let me just take you through this message. I've been seeing this over and over again over the past week or so. I'm out of the market. I wish I could say that this experience was a positive one, but I'd be lying. Narrative after narrative, it feels like I am always 2 steps behind. Everyone in my life told me that I've been wasting my life, and honestly, they are right. 5 years have gone by since entering the cryptocurrency market, and all I have to show for it is a hollow echo in my bank account and a mirror that won't stop judging me. The rotations were supposed to be exciting, yet each one only gave me more mental illness. The trading card game meta, the perp dex meta that liquidated my entire collateral overnight on October 10th, the privacy meta, which until now we don't know why it pumped, the X402 meta, the robotics meta, and then we have the CZ BNB chain meta. Look, all of these metas were designed to get you speculating on altcoins. But as I've said time and time again, spot portfolio should have remained in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So how do we move on from here? If you were holding the majority of altcoins, look, it's pretty difficult to tell you exactly what to do. Anything that I share on this channel is of course not financial advice, but what I would personally be doing is immediately cut the ones that you think have no chance of returning. The reason I say this is simple. In the past cycles, there weren't so many altcoins and they were getting at these crazy high valuations, tens of billions of dollars in an altcoin that is essentially building absolutely nothing. But there were no other altcoins to challenge the bulk of those alts. And what happened was the speculation was insane on those previous altcoins. And because some people experienced those gains in the past cycle and it became a myth to have these crazy altcoin gains, this is what happened this cycle. Everyone started piling into alts. But then we had the rise of pump fund, and now there's millions of altcoins in the market. But it doesn't seem to matter. We can print as many millions of altcoins just like we print cash, and they will still likely continue to bleed to Bitcoin, especially in this kind of environment where we're still technically in quantitative tightening. We've been talking about this on the channel at length. But my point is, in the previous cycles, I had to make some very, very difficult decisions, and some of those decisions involved converting some underperforming alts to Bitcoin. Then you start to reestablish and remanage your crypto portfolio. Again, in my opinion, it makes most sense to hold the majority of your portfolio in Bitcoin. And if you want a little bit more risk, that's when you get into Ethereum. I'm trying to address the serious investors on this channel. I know that there's tons of YouTube channels that essentially make their channel all about altcoins, and naturally, this ends up wrecking people. We've seen the explosive cycles before, but please don't be fooled. I still think that the majority of altcoins will continue to trend down against Bitcoin. Don't think that your altcoin is special. If it has reoccurring revenue, buybacks, and these kinds of things, then naturally it does have a chance to outperform when Bitcoin does find a bottom. But at this point in time, to put your mind at ease, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to simply make sure that most of your portfolio is in Bitcoin. Now, of course, I think that the bulk of the opportunities now will likely come in the next bear market, and I will be vocal about when I start buying some more Bitcoin, specifically near those bear market lows. However, right now, we just need to let the market do its thing. It's probably not what you want to hear. You probably want me to tell you, okay, we're going to immediately pump from here, or the bear market has been confirmed. But we need to see how the price action develops before we can actually make that assessment. There's a lot of vocal bears at this point in time, and naturally I took this Bitcoin dominance long simply as a hedge. I also have my Ondo short, which I showed you and which was also shared in my premium group. If Bitcoin decides to move lower, this is the last resort in my opinion, and I would be max bidding at around $98,000. Again, ignore the wicks. We simply do not want to see several closes below 98K on the weekly time frame. I know a lot of people will comment, the bear market is here. It's obvious, but in my opinion, I still think that it's a little bit foolish to call for that at this point in time. And that sums up today's video. This is exactly why we have our key invalidation level. Daily closed below $107,000, and it was the confirmation that we needed that Bitcoin would go ahead and move lower here in the short term. In the more medium to long term, I still think that Q4 has a chance of being bullish. I have to keep reiterating that, and I don't think that it's the wisest move to immediately assume that the bear market is here. Wait to see what the price action gives you, and then you can go ahead and react. No one can predict the market with 100% accuracy. All we can do is react to what it gives us. And if you're just assuming that the bear market has started, and then what happens is this was just a quick shakeout before we move higher, you will likely regret not waiting to see what the market gives you. So what we want to see here, first of all, to point the obvious, we need to reclaim $107,000 once more. Right now, as I'm recording this video, we are back below 104. If we do tap into lower levels, in my opinion, it will be a max bid. I will of course share that in my free premium group and on the YouTube channel if I decide to enter any new positions. And the most important part is reclaiming that bull market support band, which is quite a ways away at this time, right around $110,000 to $113,000. Reclaim those levels and the bull market is back on. But right now, it's very clear that we are still in a downtrend. Naturally, this is not what you want to hear if you're holding tons of altcoins, but I'm trying my best to address those of you that are holding altcoins, even though we've been pretty vocal about not doing so and not holding them for an extended period of time. In my opinion, the best way to operate in this market is to be in and out of trades. That is how you can make gains in this market consistently without just holding on to altcoins and praying that you get a 100x. You've been sold a lie in terms of altcoins. Maybe next bull market cycle, we'll see altcoins really outperform. But for now, I still think that Bitcoin dominance likely continues to increase, as much as it pains me to say this for some of you that are holding tons of alts. And that's that. I know that a lot of you are in pain from holding altcoins. I can see it in my comment section, but lesson should be learnt here. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.